All right, we are here with Paulie Calafiore, Rob Cesternino, and Brian Cohen here for RHAP. Paulie, I want to say that I really was so impressed with you across this season of the challenge that we got to see a different side of you that we've never seen before.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it was scary kind of showing that side and being vulnerable, but that's what I worked on. I had always had this side. I was just very afraid to show it. And I had my reasons, but I came to grips with those reasons and realized that I didn't need to have those reasons. So I'm glad that I did, and I'm glad that it was well received because I was petrified.
Yeah, I'm very much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, look, the game didn't go great this time around, but like I thought that that was really awesome that you got to, have that arc on the show.
Yeah, it was cool. And the game not going well. I mean, it definitely it wore on me even more so. Like in this time leading up to like the show, I was sitting there being like, man, this is crazy. I've never gone home this early on anything. Even like going back to like my athletic days, like starting as like a baby, like 4 years old. I never remember getting knocked out of anything early. So like that was a lot to deal with this time around, and almost kind of being like, oh my God, like I can't believe did I go home early because I was vulnerable and I opened up, or like I was like there was so much confusion. I was like sitting there being like, do I need to go back to being like that other person because I made it to the end every time? So like it was a lot, but like I'm actually loving where I'm at, in the headspace that I'm at, and I kind of like this version of myself, more so than the person who I, you know, had been, in a way putting up that wall and like that protective barrier, for myself.
Yeah, that's great to hear, Paulie. And when we saw this cast list come out, I think for a lot of people, seeing your name on it was probably one of the more exciting names on it because we haven't seen you in a few years. I think since 2019. So, like, what was it about like this season or the timing of it, like, or your relationships? Like, what brought you back now for this season?
You know, um, so once again, I mean, early on the break was because of some of my off camera antics and everything. So like that was something that I had to deal with. Going from kind of being a mainstay there to like being cast on Total Madness and having that ripped from me. It was an eye-opening moment where I was like, all right, I gotta start like working on this stuff. I gotta start working on the inside of me. And then after that, when that one season turned into a two-season break, I was like, oh, okay, like this really is serious. I need to continue to work on myself because if I do get to go back, I really need to, make sure this doesn't happen again. After that, it was mainly just like a timing thing. Like I was trying out for the Winter Olympics. I'd started a business. So I was putting a lot of my time and effort into those things. So it was just kind of like a timing thing. And you know, I think the first time that I finally was like, all right, yeah, like timing lines up, everything's great. That's when the call came, and I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this. And this time around, I'm not gonna mess this up.
Was there anything that changed in the relationship between you and Johnny Bananas, or did you just change as a person and that allowed you to work with him?
I think that it probably came from both sides, right? Like I think on my side, like a lot of the work that I did allowed me to go into this game. Because I shifted my perspective. I was like, why do I keep losing? Ultimately, like, on paper, you look at it and you're like, how's this guy keep losing? You know what I mean? Even when he's got like great setups and everything. And I think that a lot of it came from like me just focusing on the wrong things and focusing on um animosity that I had towards people rather than focusing on the end game. And like when you look at all like the great gamers and people who win and win a lot, they always focus on the end game. And I think Johnny also, he's at a different point in his career, right? Where he's not holding on to things maybe the way that he once did. And I kind of wanted to also learn that about myself is like, can I do it? It was almost like a challenge for myself to be like, can I walk into a house with people who I've hated and just like not care? So it works, I guess.
So you were obviously brought into this cast as part of like the larger pool, not the 6 group of challengers, but obviously it's been a minute since you were on Big Brother. So did you have any sort of relationships with like Monty, the Alyssas, Tiffany, some of the newer Big Brother people that were on this season? Do you have any sort of relationship with them at all going into the season?
No, I mean, I think I maybe met Tiffany like once. From the Survivor standpoint, I never met any of those people. I don't think I ever spoke to any of those people. Even on the Big Brother standpoint, I had, maybe had reached out to Tyler once after Big Brother All Stars, being like, "Hey man, great game." But yeah, I felt like a fish out of water, in a sense, in a weird way, even though I had no friends on like that side of it. I almost felt like I connected more with like the crossover people. So like the Michaelas, the Michelles, the Joshes, the Fessies, and myself. And then like it is a weird like place of comfort where it's like, even though I knew Johnny and I were enemies, I know Wes's game. I had never really played with Corey. Tori and I were at odds. Amanda and I, like, I don't know how her relationship with Cara was going to affect it with me. But I did feel a little bit more level of comfort there. But I still wanted to work with the CBS people. So it's like I was talking to everybody, and I mean, I was sitting pretty good. I mean, that Hopper just like threw like such a crazy twist that nobody could expect. And, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any relationships with the other players that we didn't get to see on the show in terms of like people that you were aligned with?
I mean, I was really close with Desi. I was really close with Cassidy. Actually, I'd say all the Survivor girls I was like really close with. And even like Alyssa Lopez, like I really was kind of like there with everybody. Like I didn't even come into this season having a strategy. Like I was like, I'm just gonna try this thing out where I just come in and I just actually have conversations with people like not related to game and get to know them as people, and almost like kind of like put myself in as a social player. So like I would say like I was connected to everybody because like everybody was coming to me like as a place of zen, because like I was just so zenned out all the time. Like I was like getting people to do cold plunges in the morning, like meditate, like do all these things that are really great for like stressful situations and your mental health and all that stuff. So people would like come to me and they'd be like, "I'm so paranoid, but for some reason when I talk to you, I just feel this level of comfort." And I was like, "Oh, I guess this is nice. Not playing such an aggressive game out of the gate. Like I kind of like it."
So now that you made your reappearance, there's, obviously big season 40 is on the horizon for the challenge. Is this like a one and done thing, or if they come calling, are you ready to like jump right back in? I'm there season 40 or beyond. Like, are you ready to jump fully back in?
Yeah, I'm back. Like I made sure I set up the businesses, to run themselves if I ever have to take time off. I still continue to learn things about myself that I'm going to continue to apply. And now that I got the chip off of my shoulder, like I think I'm finally ready to make a run for it and see what I can accomplish before my time is done. Before I get to the age of like the Johnnies and the CTs and the Wes's. Right. I mean, if Mark Long's still going after it, I mean, who knows? Like I could be in my 50s doing this at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to be back, and I really want to make a run at this and do it the right way. Where I'm not looking at things from a personal standpoint and looking at things strictly from a game standpoint, because it was really a beautiful thing to like look at it that way.
Did you feel like that it was any disadvantage for you to come in and sort of like be labeled as like, oh, he's one of like the Big Brother people that's going to be here taking on these like challenge veterans, when probably you've spent more time with the challenge people over these last few years?
Yeah. So I was in an interesting situation because I was trying to play in the middle. I was trying to like just kind of sit here, and kind of it started getting back to me, through the grapevine, people coming to me and being like, "So, we hear that you're leading the charge against the vets and everything." And I'm sitting there being like, "Okay, so I'm being used as a shield. I'm being used as the fall guy. So like now I really have to like pay attention to like who's coming and talking to me and like, who they're then going and talking to and all that stuff." Because, I was just like sitting there as the guy, like nodding, in a lot of conversations and just kind of I was in the conversations with everybody. I was just kind of nodding. You know, and then when I found that out, that's when I was like, oh, well, if they're using me for this, like I probably am more protected with the group of people who backs are against the wall. You know, because they need numbers at this point. So that's kind of where I was at, headspace wise, in that, because I was like, man, I'm not about to be used as the shield. You know, I never, but once again, it was such a interesting game to navigate because of the hopper. So like, I keep describing it in a way where it's like I was setting up the chessboard because that's what I like to do early on, is set up the chessboard. But the hopper was almost like, you know, you're playing chess with your friend and you got your kid runs over to the table, just grabs the pieces and like smacks them. And you're just kind of like, oh, what are you doing? Why would you do that? You just ruined my game. You know what I mean? And that's what the hopper was. So like once that got introduced in the eliminations, also a piece of my mind, like let go of the control aspect of the game.
Okay, Paulie, I know you got to run and do more interviews today, but really nice to get to see you on the challenge and happy to hear that things are going so well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. You know, thank you guys. I mean, I've known you guys for forever. I'm glad we finally got to be on a podcast, even though it was short lived. You know, maybe I'll come back and talk to you guys again.
Okay, all right, I would like that. All right, Paulie, take care.
All right, see you guys.
All right,
thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.